Well, hi everyone. Happy 2021. I think it's amazing that we made it. And I always say nothing magical happens on the first of the year. But I don't know, for me there's certain points during the year that are kind of a thruster for me, right? Like a rocket fuel. It's the beginning of the year and the beginning of the school year. And those are the two times. And I think it's because I've been an educator for so long that I really just get a bit more energy than I normally do. So I'm really excited about kind of my plan moving forward. I have my power sheets are ready. For those of you that don't know what power sheets are, they're a practice that I use every year from a group called Cultivate What Matters. And a small group of us are doing our power sheets this year where you really are intentionally setting your goals for the year. And so I've got my power sheets ready and I'm excited to go. So let's get into our January recipes. So look at the picture of the soup. Yes, we're going to make wontons this month. I've always wanted to make wontons and I was always just nervous about it. So we're going to kind of share. Let's see what we've got going on today. Okay. So please, I'm all over the place. Please read my message for this year. I really just want you to remember about thinking where our thoughts are. Our thoughts dictate our beliefs and our actions, and essentially how we live our life. And remember, how we spend our minutes is how we spend our hours, and our days equals how we spend our weeks and our months and eventually our year. And so, what are the things that you're doing to make sure that this year is intentional, that this year gets you off to a place where you want to be? And it sounds kind of funny that the recipes help get us there, but they do. I know that on the days that I am planned about what I'm going to cook for dinner, on the days I have food in the refrigerator, and on the days where I have cooked for my family or we have cooked together, there's a plan. It is a very different ending to the day than when we just try to wing it or when we just throw something together. None of these recipes are hard, but they are awesome. So every month I try to share with you what my favorite one is. And I, again, struggle a little bit because I always struggle. I'm most impressed with the wonton soup because I figured out how to make it myself. But I'm going to go with my kids would say the taco quinoa casserole, I think was their favorite. I'm gonna go with the buffalo chicken and broccoli casserole. I did a few casseroles because my grandmother always told me that casseroles are great for winter. And so I was purposely trying to do a few different casseroles. And you know what? She's right. There's like a warm comfort feeling when it comes to casseroles, but we always kind of have cheese along with casseroles. And wait till you see what I've done in some of these. And the buffalo chicken one, you're going to want to use this sauce for the Super Bowl. Okay. And it's healthy. All right. So let's dig into what we've got. All right. Remember, I always pair, actually, Coach Deb and I work on this. We pair all of our dinners with clean crafted wine. We're very, very passionate that the only wine we drink is clean crafted because 97% of wine has added chemicals, has added pesticides, has synthetic yeast, not the natural yeast. And all of that changes grapes, changes the flavor, changes the consistency, and adds toxins. And so to make up for that, they put 16 to 32 grams of added sugar into wine and you don't even know it because it's making up for the taste issues that all that other stuff is being put into wine. And so in order for you to get the health benefits that wine does offer and for you not to be sabotaging your goals, clean crafted wine is the only option. So you can click on any of these to see some pairings that we love. Now, because these are small vineyards, sometimes they're not always there. And if you have any questions about pairing and the link isn't working, just let us know. Okay, so we're going to start off with the taco quinoa casserole. And yes, there is cheese on this if you want it to be, but you don't have to have the cheese. Every single month, we always talk about whether it's compliant with our clean eating challenge, the 4 weeks to wellness that we call it. And so if it's not, we will usually tell you how you can replace it so it can be compliant. There might be some that are not. They're all healthy, but remember on our 4 weeks to wellness, we are eating like exceptionally clean. So if it's compliant, you know you've got some good ones there. This is like a taco in a bowl, and we're using quinoa this month for our carb with this. So we're not using the regular tortillas or any of those corn chips or any of like that, any of that. We're using quinoa and black beans. This with the cilantro and the lime, you guys have so much flavor on here. I don't have a lot of hints for you on this, but this was one that truly, truly everybody really loved and wanted seconds. I will say I love pickle sliced jalapeno peppers, and I'm not even a spicy girl when it comes to my food, but I did like it on this. My daughter doesn't like it, so you may not want it, but you want fresh cilantro on here, okay? The flavors come together really well. I ate this for days afterwards. You definitely don't want to make sure you put your garnish on the top. You don't put it in the oven, like your fresh cilantro and the lettuce and the tomatoes. You want that little bit of cold along with the heat. It's so, so, so good. All right, I have one sheet salmon with a cilantro tomato sauce. So I do try to sometimes give you guys ingredients that you're going to use over again in the month. And this was amazing in that taste was so great. I just love cilantro on literally just about anything, but it was so simple, you guys. And so basically, I just take a sheet, like one of those baking sheets, and I put a ton of veggies. You can even choose other vegetables if you want to, but I really loved the combination with the asparagus and the peppers and the carrots and the onions. I even had zucchini in there, and I spread them all out, lots of lemon, and then I put my salmon fillets on top. I even did it with frozen salmon on top, and it was just one dish and so, so simple. Um, so really like plan that out. I even put parchment paper on the pan, and that made it such an easy cleanup. Now, salmon will often yield more fat than typical, but that's okay. There's all sorts of good fats in there. Don't stress out about that one. There's only 11 grams of carbs in here, so just think about that. Adding another more veggies, having a little extra quinoa that you might have left over from from the taco quinoa casserole, or adding a glass of wine to this is going to be fabulous. Okay, onion sausage flatbread. I do want to talk about this one because the what you choose to use in your flatbread is going to make a difference. So these are all the toppings that I used, but I really like to use the Simple Mills almond flour pizza dough. You can also use a cauliflower crust if you want, but I put in the recipe for making your own dough if you want to make your own dough. Okay. But this picture here is a picture of the Simple Mills almond flour pizza dough, and it worked really, really well. Now, you have a variety of options when it comes to your toppings, and that will change your PFCs. But you guys know about your portions now. Just keep them in mind. I really like to use turkey sausage or chicken sausage because it's just a lot less fat for you. Um, but this went over really well. The balsamic vinegar drizzled on top is fabulous. Okay. Um, and so that goes on to a couple of pages. So I did steak with cherry pepper sauce. You're seeing the cherry pepper sauce here. You can replace that with chicken, or I even did it with shrimp as well. I had so much extra sauce that I was using it for days. So keep that in mind. There is brown sugar in here. It's 3 tablespoons. I really did give it kind of a difference of taste. You can replace it with agave though, if you really do want to keep it compliant. But I do accommodate for that sugar in the carbs. I don't like to do a lot of sugar on very much at all, but that brown sugar really did. I've done it both ways, and I really did like it that way. We got into cherries because my husband loves cherries in his shakes. And so we had a ton of frozen cherries. And so I was just really trying to figure out what else I can do with cherries. So this is pretty amazing. Okay. Um, so let's keep going. Chicken and sweet potato casserole. This is totally compliant. The cayenne pepper in here really spices it up. You may choose not to use it if you want to, but again, we're using cilantro here and we're using quinoa. So a lot of the veggies that we're using again. So I just want you to be thinking about times that you're going to be cooking these meals so that when you're grocery shopping, it can really work for you. So you don't have to you can use one ingredient multiple times. I did use frozen and fresh broccoli for this. I love to get the frozen organic broccoli at Costco. And so to me, that is the way to go with that. The third of a cup of dry white wine. This is where I use my dirty wine because the sugars kind of cook off anyway and all of that. So when I use my dirty wine, that's what I use it for. Um, really, really filling, very tasty. It's so funny how many different ways you can find ways to use all those same ingredients in different, different combinations. All right. So as we go to week 3, I love artichokes so much. And so this artichoke and herb shrimp bake, you can use fresh or frozen shrimp with this. It's fine. I have arrowroot powder in here. So many different recipes that have any sort of cornstarch, you can replace with arrowroot powder. It's so much better. So always have that as part of your pantry items, okay? I get my artichokes in a can, and I drain them, and I use artichokes in lots of things. I love them in my salad too. And they're low in carb and super, super tasty. So grab a few cans of artichokes and see what you can use them for. The lemon zest is incredible in here. You're really such fresh ingredients in this. Now, I do have breadcrumbs in here because it's a bake. It's a little bit like a casserole. And so you can use breadcrumbs. You might want to look for gluten-free breadcrumbs depending on how you are with gluten. And there's definitely options out there. When you're looking at gluten-free, though, I want you to always be really aware of the ingredients because just because something says gluten-free doesn't mean it's a better alternative if it's not, if it's got lots and lots of garbage in it. Okay. So be aware of that. This one is really just super yummy. Shrimp is such a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids. It's such a great complete protein and a great source of iodine too, which is really important for our brain and thyroid health. So, in a lot of us are deficient in that. So, there's a lot of nutrients in this. Okay, so go for that one. The tomato tapenade stuffed chicken breasts. I'm going to give you a hint on how to cut the chicken breast. Now, this has yogurt and feta cheese, so this is harder to make, honestly. But this is like a Mediterranean kind of a meal. And so if you're on the challenge, I would say this is harder to be compliant on, but you've got low carbs in this one, so you can always add some stuff. This tasted amazing with shrimp as a mixture, not as stuffed. I didn't stuff the shrimp, obviously. So when I did the chicken breasts, I actually cut them down so I almost like made a pocket into the raw breast and then put the stuffing inside of it. And it was incredible. Okay. Um, and so you can see I paired it with a side salad here and some wine. You are really looking at almost no carbs in this. So, just keep that in mind and, maybe a little bit extra veggies, some brown rice, whatever it is, a sweet potato, because if you did the chicken and sweet potatoes, you might have some extra sweet potatoes and you could use that in there. Um, the Kalamata olives, don't leave those out, you guys. I love Kalamata olives and it tastes so good. All right. So we're going to move on to the beef rice Instapot, or you can use a slow cooker for this. Okay. So I put directions for both. So just focus on those. It looks like a lot of directions. It's really not. My suggestion is to read through this first, so that you can really understand it. There's a tool in here that I use. It's a sieve, and it allows you to um, uh, kind of drain out the like a little colander, drain out some of the uh, you want to strain the liquid through it so that you don't have some of the stuff floating in it. And so if you can get that, have that in there. Let's see. I'm just trying to look at my notes. Um, I love pho, like love, love, love pho. And so this is such a better replacement for what you might be buying out in the grocery store. Um, I have used lemongrass paste if I couldn't find a lemongrass stalk. You're going to take the stalk and you're going to smack it with the side of the knife. But if you can't, you can get the little tubes of lemongrass paste and it adds a ton of flavor. You guys know I used to live in Asia. Lemongrass is my thing. I love, love lemongrass. Okay, here's the buffalo chicken, you guys. So wait till you see what's in this sauce. I actually first made this at my sister-in-law's house and we were blown away. We were like, are you kidding me? This is going to be so diverse for you. My daughter loves buffalo chicken wraps. So now this is the sauce we use. We don't use the garbagey sauce, okay? And so look at what's in the sauce. I use chicken broth, to be honest with you, but you can use vegetable broth too. Depends what you have. A potato, carrot, onions, hot sauce. I use Frank's hot sauce. Um, and that's what goes in it, you guys. We literally boil it. I used an infuser or a blender to make it saucy. You're gonna be blown away by this. It was incredible. Um, Still low in carbs a little bit here, but we aren't that high in protein, so it actually is pretty balanced. So keep that in mind. So don't just bring your carbs up because your protein is right where it needs to be. Um, if you remove the blue cheese, and I have had this without blue cheese, it tastes great. I just am a blue cheese girl when it comes to buffalo chicken. But you can now use this sauce. So use this for wings. If you want to make wings for people, make grilled wings or put them in your oven with this sauce. Okay, it's going to be a hit. All right, so the wonton soup that you can make yourself. The wontons contain wheat, unless you can find a total rice-based noodle. But I was using those with that, and it also, if you use soy sauce, that's in there. I'm using arrowroot starch again, but I don't use soy sauce. I actually use a no soy sauce. I don't notice any difference, and I love it. So there is just a little bit of a science in an art to wrapping the wontons. I've done this so many times now. It's really going to take practice, and that's all it is. But you're gonna use a little bit of the arrowroot starch to kind of dust your baking sheet, and then you can work. It depends how big your wrappers are, but I have done it with large wrappers and I cut them, and I found that 6 seems to work pretty well. You're going to take a rounded teaspoon of paste. This is what's crazy, you guys. We're going to actually blend raw shrimp. So this is one that you need raw shrimp for. You can't have frozen cooked shrimp. Okay. You need it raw and you need it not frozen because it's going to actually be blended in with those ingredients into a paste. All right. So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of amazing. And you're going to make this paste and put little bits into the wonton. You're going to fold it in half to form a triangle. And then you're going to use a little bit of water, like on your fingers, to seal the edges and just kind of wrap it around. It's not going to be pretty at all the first few times. Don't worry about it. Okay. Um, really, you do want the fresh ginger for this too. It's so good. And you will really enjoy the flavors of this. My kids love wonton soup and they went crazy. Um, you can also do any veggies you want for this, like broccoli, snap peas, spinach, bok choy. Baby bok choy is my favorite in here. So just be creative with what you already have or what you want to do. All right, zucchini banana bread. I am a sucker for banana bread. I have this dividing into 12 pieces. It's pretty dense, so you'll actually get pretty full from this. But this is a carb and a fat, so depending on what your intentions are with it. But this is a great way to do a dessert bread. Now, there's a lot of cane sugar in here, like there's sugar in here, right? But imagine if you were doing like regular banana bread and this is so much better. Now again, I've divided this into 12 pieces, so if you divided this into 6 pieces, look how you would be doubling all of this. So this is just about intentionality and awareness of what we're putting in our body. Now if this is part of an appreciation meal, or if you just decided I'm having a piece of banana bread, that's okay. We're just going to be intentional about it. Okay. Zucchini gives us a lot of nutrients and it's great. Okay, and then my chili lime Brussels sprout chips. You guys, I love Brussels sprouts, and I've always tried to find new ways to make them because my mom used to boil them when I was a kid. I hated Brussels sprouts. So I love them so much now that I'm just trying to find all the different ways that people might love them. Okay. So the key is to getting large Brussels sprouts here because you're going to be using the outer leaves only. Okay. I would use them in week four's soup if you want to, the wonton soup. So the inside use in the soup and the outside make this chili lime Brussels sprout chips. It reminds me of kale chips. It's like the same kind of thing like kale chips, but I'm using Brussels sprouts for them. So use the outside edge for that and put the inside into the soup. So this is one of the things I really want to share. Every single month, I have a different quote that I want. I hope that you'll like post somewhere, put it on your phone, because these are things that it's our mindsets that are going to keep us moving. It's going to keep us living a lifestyle that is closer and closer to our goals. And so when we are clear on our why and our mindsets are strong, we can do anything. This lifestyle is simple, sustainable, and satisfying, but it only is when we have the right mindset. So let's read this together. I am not a victim of my circumstance. I can make the choice to succeed in spite of the mountain in front of me. What choice will I make today to get me one step closer to my goals? This to me is perfect for going into 2021. We are not a victim of our circumstance. The circumstances may be beyond our control, but we are in control of how we respond. And so going into this, you have time to cook. You have time to prepare. You have time to do this for you and your family. You have time to be able to learn something new and to do something you don't normally do. So I would love to hear more about how you're enjoying these recipes, what your favorite ones are, and if you have any questions, always reach out. Happy January, happy 2021. I couldn't be more honored and excited to be on this journey with all of you. Bye.